early. I'm sorry for the bright light on my face, but it's the reflection of the car in front of my house. So it's a little bright, but thank you so much for being here. Like Emily and like Julie can agree too. I'm the same. Feel very strong about the whole admission process for rising seniors, especially now. This is such a different year for you. So we are here to make sure that we give you the best information in the fastest and probably simplest way that we can, just because everything is, you know, kind of different. We hope that your year ended well, given everything that's going on, and that you are enjoying your summer, certainly. So please, like I said, you're welcome to, if questions pop up while we're talking, put them in the chat box. I'll kind of be fielding those questions as, you know, to kind of keep track. And then we can answer along the way, but we do have a lot of great information for you. So thanks for being here today. And Julie?
Hi everyone, I'm Julie. I'm also a Senior Assistant Director at Niagara in the Admissions Office. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We love meeting with you, so please sign up for many of our events. We'll have a lot more, you know, throughout the year too. I recruit locally and a little bit downstate by New York, Long Island, in that area as well. So I'll see a lot of different faces in a lot of different areas. So I'll be here to answer a lot of questions for you at the end, but I'm also going to take you through the presentation that we're going to start now as well. So we can go ahead and start. So what we're going to do today is go over the college search process, and we're just going to highlight everything in general for you, whether it's Niagara or not. Of course, we want it to be. We're just going to give you some pointers and help you understand better the process of what you're going to expect as a junior, becoming a rising senior, how to apply, what to expect with SATs and ACTs, writing essays, asking teachers or coaches or counselors for letters of recommendation, and just getting everything ready to go so that it's a smooth process and there's no hiccups along the way. Okay, so more topics being discussed would be definitely visiting campus. I know that's kind of hard right now during this pandemic that we're living in, but we're trying to make it a little bit easier for you to do virtual visits and things like that. And we hope that soon we will be able to visit your schools, fingers crossed, or that you can come visit us. We're going to go over the application process with you today. SAT and ACT tests, if they're required or not. Extracurriculars, what you're involved in high school and how that helps you build up your resume to get accepted into college. Athletics, club, there's Division I at Niagara, for example. Finding the right fit. Do you like small class sizes? Do you like bigger schools, lecture halls? It's all about different things, and a lot of different aspects create the fit. And then of course the cost of attending is huge, because that sometimes is a huge deciding factor for you. And then of course, when you're admitted, what to expect next. So we will be discussing all of those today. Okay, so visiting colleges, when to visit. So spring open house, usually that would have happened in April, I believe. So that's usually a really, really fun event. You know, you get to come on campus, you get to try our food, you get to meet current students, you get to meet with deans and professors all over campus. Of course, this year we could not do that, but we did hold a virtual open house. So for you, I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll be able to have an on-campus fall open house. I really just don't know, but if not, we'll be doing something. And we do want you to know that if you're in the area, please take a drive through campus, not just our campus. If, let's say you're in Syracuse, drive through the schools around there. You know, if you can't visit the campus, you might as well just kind of get a look for it. Go on the website. Of course, like for us, we are doing like virtual tours with our students. So you can sign up for one of those. We do them pretty much every day, Monday through Thursday at 10 and 2. So you can do that as well. But really just familiarizing yourself with the campus will give you a feel of if you feel like you fit there. I definitely think it's important to visit more than once. Of course, if you're coming from further away, at least try to get up once, and then maybe over the summer, especially when normally orientations and things are on campus. So I pretty much kind of covered all of that, but try to go to the college visits at your high school. So should we be allowed into your high schools this year because of what's going on? If we're in the, the counseling office or the career center and they say, Niagara University is here today, please come down and see us. We always try, you know, when we do come to campus, we try to keep it on our website too, so you know where all our counselors are going from day to day. We also try to send posters to the school, so maybe when your guidance office receives it, they might hang it in the hallways. You'll see, oh, Niagara is coming on October 22nd at 2 o'clock, so you can kind of think of that. And then we also try our best to reach out to you, since we have, you know, your names in the system now, that if we're coming to your school, we'll try to tell you as well. So just try to go to different fairs in the area too. If the college fairs are usually really fun, so I hope that you do get the chance, if you haven't gotten to go to any last year. I do hope that this fall or spring at least, you'll be able to go to a college fair. Sometimes there's like 500 colleges there. Sometimes there's like 100, I would say, but that is awesome because you can come with whoever you want, your friends, your family, walk up and down the aisles, gather information, and then you really just get more. I mean, I'm enjoying this virtual thing here, but the FaceTime is really important too. So if we can get out, try to get out. So go on to the next. Perfect. Okay. So the application process. So this might be pretty similar to many of the schools that you apply to, but number one, we just want to get you in the habit of doing this early, is try to create a separate email for your college application, college search process, so that everything goes to the same email, and so that it's, of course, like a professional email, or maybe something that you and your parents both have access to, so you're not missing anything at all. So of course, I'm sure you all have emails set up, but if you just want to make a new one and that's where you put everything, you know, it also will help with less confusion if you have, like, you know, online shopping coming in on one. Just keep everything separate. So at Niagara anyways, we use the Common Application, which I'm assuming some of you may have heard of the Common Application, and if not, it's an application where you can apply to a bunch of schools at once. And in their privates, they're publics, they're all different kinds of schools. Some of them have an application fee, some don't on the Common App. We do not. But we also have an application of our own on our Niagara website, so niagara.edu. Up in the corner, you would hit apply, but that is also free as well. Our application is open. So I know that I have, for example, one of the students who came on today, we've talked a little bit, and I kind of gave you advice to apply like end of August, early September. You can actually apply now if you want, because I know you're excited to apply. So our application is open. We will need the transcript from your high school. That'll have to come straight from your high school. Sometimes I know students have copies, but we just like to see that like official from the school, which usually it does if counselors are sending it through Naviance and such. We'll also need, well, we may or may not need it. For nursing and biology, we require ACTs or SATs. Sometimes it's great to take both because they're different tests, but we are test optional for pretty much every other program that we have. But the SAT and ACT scores do affect our scholarships, merit scholarships. So, you know, if you did pretty well on it, I wouldn't say, you know, not to submit it, but we are test optional. So if you, you know, don't feel like you did the best to your ability on it, you have the option not to send it in for certain majors, everything but nursing and biology at our school. We like to see 1 or 2 letters of recommendation. 2 is always great. I always say you could do a teacher, you know, let's say your baseball coach. I was always super close with my guidance counselor. I think she wrote me 1. I might have had 3. It's something that maybe you could ask ahead of time. But even if you have their emails during the summer, you could shoot them an email saying, you think you could get me on your list? I mean, you might be one of 50 who are asking for a letter of recommendation. So just to get the ball rolling on that, or if not, you know, when school starts, of course, ask them. So we do look for that. We do look for an essay, which it's nothing we want you to be super stressed out about, but we want you to submit it and tell us, you know, probably a story about yourself, something really meaningful that you want us to know with, of course, good grammar and everything like that as well. So somewhere, you know, above 250 words as well. And then some schools require interviews. At Niagara, interviews to us are more like appointments. So if you met with us during normal times, we meet students at Panera's or Starbucks, anywhere. We also meet them on campus, so we would call that an interview, but it'd be an appointment. They're not required at Niagara, but it definitely shows demonstrated interest, which is to that looks good, especially when you're asking for more money later down the road and things like that. So of course, keeping your parents in the loop kind of ties back with creating that email address and maybe giving them access to it as well. So the college essay, which we kind of touched on a little bit, but we just want everyone's story to be creative, and we want you to really enjoy what you're writing about. Don't just rush through it. But a lot of the essays, when we read them, we're just like stop dead in our tracks for the day, and we can't stop thinking about like what you wrote. Like they really mean a lot to us. So when you share your story, we like to know like what you've gone through, why you want to go to Niagara, or wherever you want to go, and why it's so important to you. So you can make that all in there. Obviously, we want you to have it where no grammatical errors, but as long as you're really spilling your feelings, things like that, we take a lot of pride in that, and we appreciate reading all the different maybe struggles you've had. We get essays about people's family lives or struggles students have had during school, things like that, and we might get some essays about this pandemic that's going on, just things that have affected you, and that'll just say a lot about you. So once you get that in, that's a big part of completing the application process. So definitely try to do as best as you can on that. And I know a lot of teachers at schools, basically, they do, I think, have classes. You might have some insight on this, but at least at like Newport, for example, I think they have a class that they offer to students where they kind of teach you how to write the college essay. So some of you may have already done that your junior year. So maybe you can kind of tweak it a little bit and use something you've already written that has been proofread and things like that. Or you can write an essay and give it to maybe your English teacher or something and say, can you just glance over this for me before I submit it to Niagara University? So.
Mind if I interject for a quick minute? Julie, do you mind if I interrupt?
Go ahead.
So I just want to share a little bit about the nursing program. If anyone here is interested in nursing, it's a little bit different than the rest of the programs, and it doesn't even necessarily pertain to Niagara. I mean, anywhere you may be looking, because nursing programs in most schools that you'll be applying to would be competitive. I just want to make a point, since you're talking about the essay, an essay, it definitely weighs heavily on the decision in terms of students like writing about why they want to be a nurse, something that's maybe affected you along the way, just like your compassion, different things like that. So I would just like to point out, for wherever you may be applying to nursing school, which of course we do hope it's us, but to keep that in mind when you're writing your essay, because it really means a lot to those that are reading it. And like at most schools, and like Niagara as well, we personally do, I'll read your applications. So we do take it, very much to heart, and everything that you're kind of pouring into it. So I just wanted to mention that. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so the letter of recommendation. So this is really, I kind of touched on this a little bit too, but it is really important to ask early for this, because I remember even when I graduated from Niagara, I asked for a letter of recommendation from one of my professors for applying to a job, and it took a couple months to get the letter. I'm not saying it's going to take that long for you to get, but it takes a while sometimes to get the letter of recommendation, because they are probably writing so many letters. So just ask as soon as you can get access to them. And basically, it can speak to all these different things, but I'm sure that if you are choosing someone to write you the letter that you feel like you have a very good relationship with, maybe you did well in their class, or maybe you were struggling in the class and you made a turn for the best, I'm sure they're going to write you a great letter for sure about that. So don't worry too much about that. But the best part is just try to ask early so that you are getting your hands on these letters. And, of course, go to people that will write you a letter. So that's definitely important. And then especially if you are applying test optional to Niagara. So since we are test optional, which means, of course, you do not need your SAT or ACT unless you want to submit it, or unless you're biology or nursing, we strongly recommend that you provide us with a co-curricular resume or extracurricular resume. I mean, these are things that are on the application anyways. You're always listing your sports, your clubs, what you're involved in, your volunteer work, but Additionally, on top of that, you could even upload, you know, a Microsoft Word resume document going a little further into it just because you didn't take your test. But if you have, you know, when I was in high school, I actually had a like high school internship at a courthouse. It was at a courthouse, actually. It was like twice a week. So, I mean, those were things that I put on my application when I was applying. I volunteered at a hospital. I put that in. I was in like a youth group. I put that in. So anything you could think of, and don't be shy, write everything in. If you did, you know, especially we did a ton of community service, put that in too. So we love to see that. We love to see different leadership things. If you're a class officer, or if you're involved even in something outside of school, like maybe you're in the key club in the area or anything like that, make sure definitely to put that in. So thank you.
And this is where I slowly take over from Julie. I'm just gonna piggyback off of Julie's co-curricular resume. Don't feel like you're bragging about yourself, because that's the time that you get to brag about yourself. So put everything and anything that you did throughout your high school career, so freshman through senior year and stuff like that. Moving on to the fun part of standardized testing. So ACT and SAT, depending on where you live, one is offered more than others. So if you're one of my New York students that's tuning in, SAT is offered more than the ACT. If you're one of my students that I recruit in Ohio, ACT is offered more than SAT. If you're getting frustrated, feel free to take both if you want to. We do super score. That's something to also ask your colleges and universities that you're applying to, is if they super score. That means that you've taken the test more than once, and they're taking each part of the test. So SAT is your evidence-based reading and writing, then also your math section. And they're taking each section and giving you a best overall possible score. So as Julie mentioned, that could increase your merit scholarship and stuff like that. So feel free, if you're taking it more than once, to submit all of your scores to your colleges and universities and see if they're super scoring. Most of them do, some don't. Niagara does. Also double check if you're taking the ACT, if they super score. Some do not, because there's 4 different parts compared to 2. But then also test optional, know that that is an option. As Julie said, if you don't feel your scores are matching up to what you're doing in high school, you don't have to submit your scores. If the college or university is a test optional, which now with COVID and everything like that, a lot of schools are offering test optional options for their students. Just for all of my rising seniors out there, you guys did not get to take anything in the spring for that. So, and that's also something to reach out. We're still in the talks at Niagara University about what's going to happen next. So what are we going to look at? Are we going to look at PSAT or ACT scores for those programs that we're talking about? Julie was talking about nursing and also biology. So you can start those conversations early. We might not have an answer for you today, but we'll have one by the time that you're getting your applications into us and by the time that we're reviewing them too. And we did have this, so if you do have your phones on you, I do recommend taking a picture of this. I love when I see people taking pictures of this. So this is right now, I see a couple of you. Take a picture of this. This is also Arbor Bridge. I Googled it, Arbor Bridge, ACT, SAT test dates. There are some there. Please know, again, these are opportunities for you to take the test. Please know that they may get canceled depending on where you are located. Again, fingers crossed, everybody stays home, stays healthy, and we can get back to a little bit of normalcy soon. But please know that these are the dates right now that they have scheduled, and as it's asterisk, again, subject to change and stuff like that. But a good little reference for you, and this is also probably on SAT website and then also the ACT website. So keep checking with them. Stephanie and I did talk earlier that there is priority to students who have already registered for one and their session was canceled. So keep watching that. If you did register to take one in March and your SAT date was canceled, so keep checking your email and keep in contact with your guidance counselor and also with College Board to make sure when the testing is available. Extracurricular activities. Julie touched on this for when you're in high school. So one of the big things that I talk about, and my favorite thing to talk about, is finding the right fit. So most of you in high school are probably involved in a sport, a club, an activity, student government, the student newspaper, probably not student yearbook, then I'm aging myself now. But think about what you want to be involved in when you go to college. Does that college offer something? If you are a football player, do you want to go play for a big D1, D2, D3 school? I'll get to that. If you're interested in student government, do you want to continue being interested in student government? I like to talk about some of my favorite clubs at Niagara. We have a knitting club called Not For You. We have college students that like to knit. And I was like, that's a little weird, but I'm like, that's also really cool. So there's also opportunities for you to see what opportunities are out there. And I always encourage my students to look for things that maybe you wouldn't try in high school. We have a women's rugby team, very intimidating. Don't cross them wrong. But it's a great way to get involved on campus too. So I always recommend when you're looking at colleges, seeing what their clubs and involvement is. And that even goes, do they have involvement? Do they have weekly campus activities and stuff like that? If I do have any athletes in the crowd, be sure that you're registering yourself on NCAA's website, and you're getting your stuff done through Clearinghouse also. So Division I, those students have the possibility to come and play a sport at full scholarship. Division II is partial scholarship for athletic ability. In Division III, you're just playing at the competitive level with no scholarship. So you need to think about that. Most D1 and D2 players that are coming on a scholarship are being recruited. So if you are interested, I recommend going to your college or university's website and filling out a prospective athlete card. Ours for Niagara is purpleeagles.com. If you are looking to go play at Texas A&M and you want to play football, please know everybody scouts too. So make sure you have everything up on Clearinghouse, because they also need to double check and make sure that you're going to graduate with the correct number of courses and everything like that. If you play soccer in high school and you're like, I don't want to play competitively, I don't want to get up and do 2-a-days, I just want to keep in shape and continue with the sport that I love, please know colleges do offer club and intramural as well, which is a great opportunity too. So definitely look into what colleges offer. If they don't offer much in clubs and activities, and that's something that you're passionate about, maybe check out other universities that do offer that, which is kind of a great opportunity too. Cost of attending. Do I have any parents listening in? I hope so. If not, take a picture of this screen and hand it over to your parents and guardians too. So cost of attending. How much is college going to cost? So Niagara is a private institution. We're private. People think we cost a lot of money, but one of the biggest things that I talk about is sticker price versus the net price. So we cost right around $47,000, and they're like, I don't have that kind of money. And it's like, well, you're not going to pay that much. So net price, that's when we build in your merit scholarships. So we're going to look at how you did it in high school. What are your overall GPA? Did you submit ACT, SAT? If you did, how well did you do on it? If you're a test optional student, we're going to take into consideration that co-curricular resume and those letters of reference and base your merit scholarship off of that. FAFSA's up at the top. Please tell your parents to file the FAFSA on October 1st. If they can't get it October 1st, it's okay. It's probably because every other parent is doing it. So the FAFSA is that federal aid that is offered to students. So we want you to be able to see if you qualify for any federal aid, and that's going to be from the state if you're staying within New York State, and then also from the federal government. And that's going to be based off of your household income, and this is only for my domestic students. So to my Brazilian friends, I'm sorry. This does not qualify for you, but you do qualify for scholarship. So please make sure you're doing your FAFSA early as well, because once some of the need-based aid is gone, such as federal work study, which means colleges and universities award you money to work on campus, and you can put that toward your tuition or directly into your pocket if you need gas money, you want to go hang out with your friends and go to the movies one night. they offer that as well. So it helps bring down the price of your bill by you working off campus, but that is only need-based aid. So if you're seen as a needy student, that's offered to you. To do filing appeals, I would check with colleges and see if there's any opportunities for you to file an appeal. What that means is that you've applied to the university, you've been accepted, you've gotten your financial aid package, and it says, hey, Julie, great job. You did a really great job. Here's a scholarship for you. Here's some need-based aid. But Julie goes and meets with her parents and guardians and goes, it looks great, but I could use a little bit more help if possible. So see if your college offers appeals, and that means that you're going to say, hey, I applied to Niagara University and I also applied to Utah State. And I was like, okay, well, here's my 2 packages of financial aid that I was awarded. Is there any additional funding that you can offer? Niagara does offer this. Some schools say, here's your financial aid package, here's what it is. It never hurts to ask for extra money. It never hurts to ask for extra money. That's when I say we go digging in our couch cushions and see if we have any extra change to offer you, which is great. Scholarships. You've heard this from your parents, your aunts, your uncles, grandmas, grandpas, cousins that are in college, your guidance counselors. You've heard it from everybody. Look for outside scholarships through high school, your community. If you work at a job, if you're one of my New York students, Tops and Wegmans offer phenomenal scholarships for college students. Delta Sonic, the car wash, offers great scholarships as well. But then also reach out to your college and university and ask if they have internal scholarships for any of their students. At Niagara, we do have one called the SOS page, so it's SOS, Scholarship Opportunity Search. It's only available for accepted students. You don't have to be a deposited student to fill out any of them. Some of them are academic based, some of them are regional, some of them are interest based, some of them are alumni just donating to the university and to help a student and stuff like that. I always encourage my students, even if you kind of qualify for a scholarship, to please fill out the scholarship. Most of your scholarships that are external from your merit-based scholarship are looking for a letter of reference, which Julie talked about, which is probably going to come from a guidance counselor, a coach, somebody that you work with, and also an essay. You've already written an essay for your college application, so you're already halfway through it. You just might have to tweak your stuff a little bit to fit the application that you're filling out. I'm trying to think. That's about that. I saw Stephanie's cat jump. Did anybody else see that? So back to finding fit.
It was my husband. It was my husband.
Oh, different story. So going back to your fit, I always tell my students that I'm talking to, there's 3 things that you really need to look at when you're looking for a college when you're doing this process. The first and number 1 most important thing is, does that college or university have your major? If you want to be in astronomy, please do not just stop looking at Niagara. We do not have astronomy. If you are looking for communications, please continue looking at Niagara. We do have communications. So number 1, make sure they have your major. Number 2, get your financial aid package and see how it's looking. Does it look great? Does it look like something you can afford, your family and your guardians can afford? If not, again, talk to your financial aid office, talk to your admissions counselors throughout that process. And then last but not least is it the right fit? What is fit? Fit is everything that's in this little circle. So I best equate it to, does it feel like home? Can you see yourself eating in the dining hall on campus? Do you see students that you can relate to on campus? Can you relate to the faculty? Do you want to go to a large institution where there's 30,000 kids, or do you want to go to a small school where there's only 500 kids? Do you want to go to play sports? Do you want to go just strictly for your academics? What's the mission of the college? There's a lot of things to take in. That's why I encourage you, as soon as we all open back up, please visit the campus, as Julie said. Talk to your counselors, guidance counselors. They know a lot. Talk to your admissions counselors throughout this process. Reach out to family and be like, hey, have you heard of any cool universities that offer gerontology? And you're like, Yeah, sure. I've heard of Niagara University. Gerontology is the study of aging, or old people, as I like to say. So definitely look and see what kind of options are out there. Don't limit yourself and say, okay, I'm looking to stay in the Rochester area. Maybe you look in towards the Schenectady area. You're like, on a whim, I'm going to apply to a school in Florida. They have a free application. I always tell my students, apply to Niagara. It's a free application. Why wouldn't you? So please find a place that feels like home. And I think most of our students will tell you that Niagara feels like home to them, or it's their home away from home. And right now they're really missing it. I think along with Stephanie, Julie, and I too. Look, you have applied. You've taken your, you've done your application. You've applied. We've accepted you. This is the best part. So now what do you do? Before you commit to a school, these are some things that we recommend. I recommend revisiting your schools. I usually say this summer while you guys are all cooped up, check out everybody's virtual stuff. It's pretty easy to hop on with us. Virtually, we do a ton of events. I know other schools are doing a ton of events as well. So maybe start looking at, I don't know, 15, 20 schools. Narrow that down. Visit some of them virtually right now. If you're close to them, maybe drive through their campus, see what they offer, what it looks like, what's the neighborhood and stuff like that, and then apply to your schools. And then once you've decided, go and revisit your top 3 schools, top 5 schools. Do you still enjoy campus? Do you still like the students that you've met on campus? Can you still see yourself there? Stephanie and Julie and I will attest. Please keep engaged with us. We love talking to our students. I was actually texting one of my students because he's worried about his major. Am I in the right one? Am I not? Let me go talk to my mom. I'll get back to you. But I'm playing hockey. And I'm like, you'll be okay. I promise, Christian. I promise. So keep engaged with us, because when it does come down time to reviewing your application and maybe you're borderline to a program, I can say, well, I talked to Mary and Mary's really interested in nursing. She's phenomenal. She came in and attended so many events. We've communicated back and forth. She's had some concerns. Or it's, hey, Mary's really close to getting bumped up to the next scholarship. Then we bump her up type of situation. So again, keep in contact with us. I know us at Niagara, we're very open and very engaging with our students. Sometimes we're a little bit too much engaging, which is also why we encourage you to create another email address. But keep in contact with us. Let your parents and guardians know who we are. Have them reach out to us too, because they're also a stakeholder in this. Meet with financial aid in regards to that financial aid package. So if you do have any questions, you need to file an appeal. You have any questions because you're a first student going into college and maybe your brother or sister didn't, or mom and dad haven't, please reach out. That's what we're here for. We're here to answer those questions and stuff like that. We want to make sure you understand everything. Number 4 is probably our favorite, deposit. That's when you're going to make your commitment to the university. Some of them, if you're a commuter, you're going to pay one amount. If you're going to be a resident living on campus, you're going to pay a different amount. Usually the resident is a little bit higher. I do encourage you, wherever you go, if you're going to campus 5 minutes away from where you live, please live on campus for at least 1 semester. If you can afford it, if it's in your plan and you can do that, I encourage it. You're going to meet so many people. You're going to be involved on campus a lot more. So if you can do that, I encourage you to. If unfortunately you've applied to 15 schools and you've decided that you don't want to go to all 15, please let us know. Or else we're just going to continue to contact you a lot. We won't be offended. We know our fit for us is not the same fit that you might have, and that's okay. Just let us know. It makes our job easier. We don't feel guilty about it, I promise. As long as we did as much as we can for you, please let us know. And then last but not least, we're in this process with all of our incoming students for this fall. Complete any forms that need to be, so whether that's oh my gosh, getting your final transcript to us, any health form, signing up for orientation, selecting your courses, all the fun stuff that you get excited to look forward to that next chapter in your life. So I think that's, oh, and then Julie mentioned these. We do have a ton of events, and I mean a ton. Check out that first link. There's probably 15 events listed there. So feel free to take a picture of this one as well. So the first one is all major discussion. So if you're interested in education, we're going to have an education discussion night with faculty from our education department and current or recent graduates. If you're interested in communications, the STEM field, liberal arts, humanities, anything like that, literally all of our colleges are covered. So feel free to join us. We would love to have you and answer any more academic specific questions, because we like to take that to the experts in the field. And then if you're interested in just coming and speaking to us, hearing about the application process more in depth, just from the Niagara perspective, you want to see a cool virtual tour, which I think is almost better than our real in-campus personal tour, sign up for a daily visit, come and hang out with us. I'll probably be sitting here when I do mine. But come and visit us virtually again in any form or fashion. But most importantly, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. It looks like Stephanie was fielding and some, and so was Julie. But if you guys have any questions, please, please, please let us know. That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we love doing.
And this may have, triggered some thoughts for you too. Things that might pop up. So, please be sure and reach back out to us. What grades do you suggest? We look for a 3 or above for AP classes.
Shayna, it looks, yeah. Shayna, we do have sororities on campus. We have 2 sororities and 1 fraternity on campus. We are not known as a big fraternity-based school like some of your larger schools are, but they are very, very involved in the community and in campus life as well. I'm trying to think if I have it on the team.
Well, I actually too, I used to be the moderator for Alpha Sigma Alpha, which is on campus, the ASA, for a year. And there, yes, it was a great group, but also just, like I said, very heavily with giving back and community service based, which Niagara is in general anyway. But they really did a lot of involvement with that and really put together a lot of great things. So certainly, yep. I should probably take the nursing one, right, ladies?
So I was gonna let you do.
Okay, so as I mentioned with the nursing program, so I'm actually the liaison between the nursing department and admissions. So it's very competitive, to be honest with you. We do recommend applying early. It is one of the majors also that does require the SAT. So we are going to be going over some guidelines, given it's a new year, and how we may review the applications. But even so, it's a very holistic review, and this goes for all majors, but especially for nursing. So we do have an ideal baseline of what we like to see when students apply. So, but please, if you do not have these numbers with your high school career, please do not let that hinder you to apply, because we really do look at everything. But an ideal candidate would like to see cumulative average from the end of your junior year is about a 90 and above. SAT, if you were able to take it, roughly about 1,100, and then for the ACT about 24. But there are plenty of students that got accepted in the nursing program that did not have those exact numbers, because we looked at essay, which I mentioned earlier, because it's very important. Your letters of recommendation from possibly a science teacher is also very important as well. And we do look very heavily at your science grades. So your health, your bio, your chemistry are huge. So that's something you really want to make sure that's strong for you. We definitely recommend, if you have planning to take a science your senior year, it would not be a deal breaker, but only for yourself. You're helping in terms of getting prepared for the program too. And the reason it is so competitive, so this year we offered 90 seats and we processed about 600 applications. So as I mentioned, just applying early if you can is really your best option. I mean, I pretty much read every application, every nursing application that comes through, and work very closely with the department to do the reviews on the students. So if you have any kind of experience, I highly recommend putting that in there. Anything hands-on, things like that is very important. So those are the basic requirements. And it is one thing to know too, is a direct entry program. We are not a nursing school where you get accepted to Niagara, then you have to apply to nursing later and you're not guaranteed a seat. That can happen a lot, so please be very cautious to other schools. With us, you are directly accepted into nursing immediately as a freshman. So.
know I touched base a little bit on the study abroad, but I just wanted to tell you a lot of the study abroads that we offer are, super fun, and it is kind of what you want to make it. Of course, you can go for a full semester. A lot of my friends went like the spring semester of their senior year, and they literally just came back and graduated from NU like the next week. It was like really cool. And they went to like 4 or 5 different countries, and they were sending pictures of them eating cheese on the lawn in front of the Eiffel Tower. I mean, of course you're learning, but if you want to do a long trip, you can. If you want to do like a short trip to like London over a winter break, you can. Or if you're really interested in going to like a specific country that you never thought, you could ever reach or go to, we set students up with different hosts. And of course, you can go with professors as well. Like criminal justice professors take students to old, almost like haunted jails in like Ireland, for example, and things like that. So there's a lot of major specific ones too. So definitely, if you have always wanted to do that, it might be something you'd regret not doing too. So think about that.
It's what I regretted not doing when I was in college. It's the only thing I did not do, and I regret it. I'm also going to throw and do a plug-in for campus ministry. We are a 4-year private Catholic Vincentian institution. So even if you want to stay domestic and travel, our campus ministry office always does a trip, community service trip. It's called Basic Brother and Sisters in Christ. They've gone to Houston. They were supposed to go to New Orleans this spring, but it did not happen. So I'm hoping next spring it does happen and I can go because it's a great city. But know that there's also domestic trips that you can do as well. They've gone to Philly. They've gone to Pittsburgh. Houston, like I said, was one of their latest ones. So there's also opportunities to travel domestically within the continental U.S. too, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of applying too, it's important to know every school is different with the admission process. In the very beginning, Emily, I apologize because I was taking kind of attendance. If I missed that, this, I apologize. But the fact that we're rolling admission, so when different schools have different admission policies. They may have an early decision type of thing, an early action where you could be committed to a school and just you have to have your application in by a certain time, otherwise you can't apply anymore. We're a rolling admission, so when you do submit your application to us and everything's complete, it only takes us roughly about maybe, what would you say, Liz, like 2 to 3 weeks, let you know if you've been accepted. So we move pretty quickly. We don't technically have a deadline for the application, but we do recommend applying earlier. We do get the majority of our applications right around between Halloween and Thanksgiving. So like what Julie had mentioned, that's pretty much when we get the bulk of them. We're constantly reviewing applications as we get them. And then with the merit scholarships and such that we have, you would hear your merit scholarship amount right along with an acceptance letter. So you hear all of that in a matter of probably like 2 or 3 weeks. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that.
And I should say at Niagara, I know ours was a general overview, but also at Niagara, it's not, our top scholarship runs out after the first 60 people earn it. So if you're earning our top trustee scholarship, you're getting that top scholarship. Whether you're applying in August and getting accepted in October, like Stephanie said, or if you're one of my students who I just read an application for this week to start in the fall. If that student's still earning that scholarship, that's what they're earning. And then I'll take internships, even though Julie's talking about it too. I would put our career service office up against anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone. So maybe that's another great question that you ask when you're looking at your colleges. What can you help me outside of once I'm done, once I'm graduated? I think we offer phenomenal internship opportunities, and it all depends on what program that you're going into. Whether that's business or education, students get loads of opportunities to be in the classroom, nursing, clinical, biology. So it all depends. And then we also have a huge alumni pool at the university as well that are always welcoming to take in our little purple eagles under their wings. So whether you're looking to do an internship locally and you want to stay at home, or you want to go out and explore, hospitality is another big one that does a ton of internships. One of my students went everywhere from New York City Athletic Club one summer to Chicago Yacht Club to Florida to Arizona. So there's a ton of opportunities for internships, and I highly encourage you to do so as well. Well, since Madison, I mentioned education, I'll continue on that one. Any education student, you will start in the classroom first year, first semester. You will be in a classroom every semester until you graduate for a total of 9 placements. No matter what your placement is or where you're planning to, what grade level, you'll end up being in a public school, a private school, a charter school, and also special education, whether you're declaring special ed or not, because the odds of you working with a student that has accommodations of some sort, we want to make sure that you're getting that under your belt too, and then you're walking into and applying for jobs with 9 schools under your belt. One of my students that worked closely with me in our admissions office, if anybody's heard from Sarah recently in my office, out of our office, I should say, she graduated in May and she's actually starting her job tomorrow, now that I think about it. So she actually starts her job tomorrow in a pre-K classroom special ed. So again, the opportunities are out there. You just have to be able to take them.
Anything else popping up? Hey, ladies, do you want to put your contact information in the chat box just in case if you haven't already? So that if you, oh, there you go, got it, Julie. Thanks. Yep.
So anytime you need us,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be here.
And we're doing so many virtual events, you know, we're really hoping to welcome students back soon, but and just really kind of staying engaged, like especially specific majors. We have tons. If you go to our website, like I said, the major discussions, the link is there, but they're all listed there all throughout the week and through the summer. If you want to do anything specific, that's just what you might be interested in, whether it be nursing, education, that'll be there. One plug I'd like to make too, and like I said, I know this is not completely about just Niagara, it's about your overall experience, but a program that we do have that's very unique to us is called the Academic Exploration Program, and it's for students that are undecided. Has won national awards in Vegas for being one of the best in the country. Students that enter into it have a hard time leaving. That's how close they get with their academic advisor. And that's what happens too, is when you get to Niagara, you have us as admission counselors, but once you get to the academic side, you actually become a student, you will be assigned an academic advisor, who I'd like to say is basically like your college level guidance counselor pretty much. They're the ones that will guide you for all 4 years, helping with your schedule and keeping you on track to graduate on time. So you will be assigned that. So, but with the undecided program, you enter in, basically like I said, undecided or undeclared. You have until the end of your sophomore year to make a decision on a major. So you have the opportunity to take classes from pretty much anywhere across the board for the first 2 years. If you decide sooner, that's great. You know, you can absolutely switch out and you make your decision, you can take a class, you realize criminal justice, I love it, it's what I want to do. But also you have up until that time, the end of your sophomore year, to make that decision. They still guarantee you'll graduate in 4 years, which is huge. So I do highly recommend it for anyone who's even just a little bit unsure, because average college student changes majors 4 times over 4 years. So it might be a good opportunity to maybe kind of learn. They really work with you. Meet with you on a monthly basis, like constantly guiding you, seeing what you like and what you don't like, finding your strengths, all that kind of stuff. So definitely something to look into. It's called AEP, Academic Exploration Program. So just something to think about.
Did we miss anybody's questions? I think we're trying to filter them pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're okay. I don't think we missed any. Oh wait, do you have an acceleration program, or is that answered? No.
Julie answered it in the chat.
She did, okay.
Yeah.
And then also the
accessibility, yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'll even do a plug for academic support. Please go get help in college. You could be a 95 student but taking a history course and not know anything that's going on. Most services are free. If you have accommodations while you're in high school, please know that that also carries over to college too. So do not sell yourself short on any form or fashion at all, but also don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, whether that's academically, mentally, health-wise, anything like that. I encourage it. I'm all for it, and we offer tutoring at free for all students for 100 and 200 level courses, so that's your freshman and sophomore year. And then the best part is you do well in those courses and then you turn around and you then become a tutor and we actually pay you. So it's also a fun paid position on campus too. Any other questions for us?
Great questions, though. Thank you for asking. Those questions are great.
And then I know somebody asked at the beginning if we can send this out to you. We are recording it. You should be able to see that. So once we get it all cut and copied, we will also post that online. So don't hesitate to rewatch this or just even mute all of us talking. Just click through the slides to the part that you need. It will take us a couple of days to have our IT and media people do that for us. But it will be posted online for you guys to rewatch.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
for
for joining
joining
us
us.
today. Thank you so much. You guys are great. And
Have a
hopefully we'll
great
see you at
evening.
vacations. Yes.
Have a great evening. Stay safe and healthy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good one.
Thank you. That's great. Julie bolted.
She had to run to her parents' house.
I see that.
Oh, she did put that there. Cool. Well, thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, good. There we go. Okay. That was awesome.
I liked it. I'm gonna add about rolling. I actually took notes about adding rolling admission, early decision, and early action.
Oh my God, how cute. This girl, this Kristen Reed wrote to me and she goes, maybe she wrote to everyone, I don't know. Like you guys privately too. It was obvious that you put your heart into this. So cute.
Aw.
Isn't that so sweet?
Listen, I'll revamp this and then I'll update it. And then if we just want to keep using this, I don't mind sharing it with the whole staff. And just have everybody make copies of it.